Will my partner come back? It's the biggest question my clients ask me after they've thrown their partner out, having had a big, huge fight and having more than enough that they could tolerate. They kick their partner out. Will my partner come back? So here's a story about someone I helped a long time ago to feel more secure after having a fight, because the most difficult thing after a fight or some disagreement is, how do you repair the relationship? Is it even repairable? Can you go back to square one? Will it be the same? Will it change? Will you have to walk on eggshells for the rest of your life? This client was a 33-year-old female, and she'd been in a relationship with her boyfriend for about 5 years. And they'd lived together for 3 of those years, sharing most of the expenses and so on. One of them would be out of work one time and the other one would pick up the slack, and vice versa. So the woman, who I'm going to call Cynthia, came to me in a terrible state of distress. I don't know what to do. I couldn't take any more. I finally threw Stephen out. I just couldn't take it anymore. But now I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't concentrate on my work because I don't know if he's ever going to come back. Are we going to get back together? Will it work? Should I call him? Should I text him? Should I invite him to come back? Should I apologize? Do I make the first move? Does he make the first move? What should I do? It's really painful when you're in this anxious, insecure mood, because at the time you threw your partner out, you didn't really want to end the relationship. What you were trying to do is say, I can't take this anymore. The way I feel when our relationship doesn't work is so awful that right now I want to cut it all off and take care of myself. But I also want you to feel guilty. I want you to feel upset. I want you to feel the same pain that I'm feeling. And then I want you to come crawling back and beg me to take you back. This is the most common scenario that I see with lots and lots of clients, but now we're going to focus on Cynthia. Cynthia came to me in a very, very bad way. She was crying and crying and crying. She couldn't stop. She found it hard to swallow. She could barely eat. Her sleeping cycle was completely haywire. She was losing weight fast, and she could not focus on her job, and she thought that she was about to be fired. So here's what I shared with her, that in her background, she had had several of these volatile relationships where her partners would basically not do what she thought was appropriate. They wouldn't love her in the way she wanted. They didn't commit themselves in the way that they wanted. They wanted a more free and open relationship, and she wanted one that was much tighter, much more secure, and much more under her control. So here's what I shared with her. First, I said, you grew up in a home where nobody ever expressed their feelings and said how they felt. If anyone was angry with anyone else, they would just cut them off, give them the cold shoulder, freeze them out. And so you never knew whether that relationship was ever going to come back to life. Would it be okay? So you developed an anxiety whenever there was a crack in the relationship of somebody you cared about, someone who was important to you, someone that you were really attached to. And that's kind of echoing for you in your adult life. So if you have a row with your partner, or you feel like they are taking advantage of you or not giving you what you want, or expecting you to do all the work, then it's going to make you feel exactly like you did when you were a kid. And you're going to behave in that way. The only thing you can do when you're in that kid's place and your brain is working in that kid's place is to say, I don't want you anymore, get out, you hurt me, forget it. But then in that little kid's place, you say, but I can't be alone. That person is really important to me. The relationship is everything to me. How will I survive without it? Who am I without that relationship? So you begin to be scared. is what I told Cynthia. And the reason why you can't sleep or eat, you're losing weight, you can't focus on your work, your job is on the line, because now you're the one who feels like you shot yourself in the foot. Have you damaged the relationship forever? Will it have any chance of coming back to life? Will your partner still want you after you have rejected them in this very stern and critical way? And the answer is yes, because both of you are feeling bad. Both of you have not been able to share what you want from each other in an adult way, because both of you are coming from a little kid's place, and that's because you got stuck in there of what happens when we don't get on in your families. You went your separate ways, you didn't speak for a long time, you had formal meetings, and there was no love, there was no empathy, there was no softness, gentleness, intimacy, nothing. So it's understandable that Cynthia would be feeling this way. And I said probably Stephen was feeling the same way. He was wondering, does she want me back? Will she take me back? What do I have to do to prove that I still care? Should I make the first move? Should I let her make the first move? What's the right thing? So I told Cynthia that basically if she was feeling the anxiety about wanting Stephen back, making some communication, then that's a healthy feeling. It comes from a place of desire. And it's okay to make the first move if you just want to establish communication, that you don't hate each other, you're both still surviving the ordeal, and that slowly you might find a way of reestablishing a more comfortable connection. That's if Cynthia is really unbearably burdened by guilt. But what if she's feeling not so much guilty, but anxious that she ruined the relationship? Should she still wait for Stephen? Should she just bide her time? Well, probably Stephen is thinking the same thing. So you don't have to wait for anybody. You can make a communication because it's coming from desire, not anger, not fear, not from a place of retribution, punishment, or revenge. It's just coming from, I'm okay, are you okay? Can we find a pathway together where we can talk and share our mutual sadness, our mutual grief, that the relationship isn't everything we hoped it to be? When you do it that way, both of you are receptive to discussing each of your wounds and hurts and expectations being flattened, because both of you are in the same place. Both of you are feeling that neither cares about the other in quite the way that you want. So if you're open in that place of listening to your partner and what they want from you, if Cynthia's ready to listen to Stephen, if Stephen's ready to listen to Cynthia, but also to share their own experiences, then they will develop a bond that's empathic, that's patient, and that can ride through these stormy fights and pushing away everybody else. You don't need to make the relationship teeter on the edge in order to express your anger, your sadness, your grief, your fury at things not working out. Learn how to speak what you want and see if it's actually possible. It may not be possible to have exactly what you want. So I would advise Cynthia, and I did, to make a list of all the things that she wanted from the relationship, and Stephen would be able to do the same. And then you kind of look at it and see, is this realistic or not? What's possible? If I want all these things, what am I giving? Does Stephen actually want these things that I'm giving, or am I just giving them because I think they're the right things? So if you make a little wheel for yourself, and in this, between the spokes of the wheel, you put down the things you want, and then you spin it and see whatever that arrow landed on, how reasonable is that? And is there a different way in which you could ask for it, in which you could show that this is a very important need, so that you're not always stamping your feet when you don't get what you want because you didn't express it properly, or your partner didn't even know you had the need or agree that it was one that your partner had to fulfill. So if you're Stephen or if you're Cynthia, ease up on your anger and your guilt. Make a bridge. Take the first move if you're really missing your loved one, and begin to speak about what you want and what it's like for you when you don't get it, so that your partner hears it without feeling that you're going to punish them, chop them up, excommunicate them, banish them from your lives, and or make them dirt under your feet. Because in that place, you cannot reestablish a connection that's worth having. So come from a place of thinking, Cynthia and Stephen, of all the good things in your partner, of all the nice times you've had. All those memories will cool down the anger and the frustration, the resentment, and your sense of entitlement, because that's what's going to get in the way. If, Cynthia, you feel entitled to be treated by Stephen or given things by Stephen in a particular way, then you're always going to have difficulty when you don't get it, and you'll stamp your feet and excommunicate him, and then you won't want him back, and he may not want to come back. Similarly, for Stephen, write down what you want. See if it's possible. Talk about it. Share it. Make your expectations more pliable, and mix and match, and talk about how you can achieve it in a mutually satisfying way, rather than there's this rigid line and you're either doing it or you're not, and when you're not doing it, you have to get away because you hurt me and I don't want you around when you hurt me. So don't go to that place of thinking like, I don't want you, and then feeling guilty, feeling sorry, feeling anxious about whether you have totally destroyed that relationship or not. No, you haven't. But you can take another step and start the healing process by communicating about missing your partner, remembering the good things and sharing those moments, inviting a connection back, and then you'll know whether that relationship is strong enough to survive. And now, see if you can do me a favor by making some comments on the bottom in the comments section, and tell me about your experiences of having fights and breaking up and getting back together, the anxiety you feel about the stability and the security of the relationship, and what you thought about this video. I promise I will contact you back if you leave me some notes and comments and tell me more of what you want, so that I can target my videos to meet your particular needs.